welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 classic Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for A Mouse Divided, and with me today to divide a mouse is my good friend SC McPeter. Say hi.
Ain't the fourth one Dixie, brother.
Yep, and I'm so glad you're here because we're going to discuss this excellent cartoon, one of Freleng's finest of this particular period. But just to get underway, so as mentioned, this is A Mouse Divided, released on the 31st of January 1953. It's the 670th in the series, and it's directed by Friz Freleng. And thankfully, this is on disc, and it's fairly recent too. It's on the Looney Tunes Collector's Choice Volume 1 Blu-ray set, and I have a link below to that set, because you are not going to find this on YouTube. It's a copyrighted cartoon. You just will not find it here. You might be able to find it elsewhere online, but I highly encourage you to buy that set I mentioned so we can, of course, get more.
Yeah, how they never get some of those cartoons out like this one.
I mean, it sort of came out as part of Fantastic Island, which I'll go through in just a moment, but still, we want it as the proper short as well. But in case you haven't seen this one, the concept's actually very simple, although it does get fairly complex for a 6 or so minute short, I have to say. But the idea here is that Mrs. Sylvester yearns for a baby, much to the annoyance of Sylvester. Sure enough, a drunken stork decides to deliver a baby to their house because he just can't find the other house, he's just too drunk or whatever. But the baby happens to be a mouse, and you can imagine what would happen next, or not, because it does actually take an interesting twist, which we'll discuss in a moment. So a few bits of trivia for this one. The title itself, which, again, I'm not a fan of a lot of Friz Freleng titles. If you guys can think of a better title, definitely let me know in the comments below. But the title comes from the Abraham Lincoln quote, "A house divided against itself cannot stand."
I think the title works.
I mean, we'll just have to agree to disagree on that one. This is one of those shorts where I saw heaps on Fantastic Island, which is a compilation movie released in the 80s. But with the title itself, I'm like, oh, it's this one. And then I seem to do that a lot with Friz Freleng shorts, but whatever. It is what it is. At least the short's great, and that's the main thing. But with Fantastic Island, that one has the ending change so that Sylvester ends up being delivered to the island instead of in this short where he gets delivered to another mouse couple in a house. So it's slightly different, but the same idea still applies. Now, this actually has the first appearance of the drunken stork character that Friz would like to use all throughout the 50s, although in this appearance, he sounds like a drunken Daffy Duck, so they increased the pitch a fair bit, and it sounds funny when if you think of him as like a Daffy Duck type thing, but anyway.
What's the difference? A baby's a baby. It's the environment that molds them. Congratulations, madam. You're a mother.
And we see the Stork Club at the beginning. That really was a club in New York, so they're clearly playing up on that idea.
Very famous club. It played in cartoons before, like Symphony and Slang, where they go to the store club.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not around anymore. I'm not sure exactly when it shut down, but it definitely was a prominent club that, well, was ripe for parody, as we can see here, given that we've got a literal stork involved. But anyway, so this one, I also wanted to put into perspective. One of the big questions is, why storks? Like, why the whole stork idea delivering babies? Because it's not even just here. If you watch Dumbo, that's literally in the beginning. You got the whole stork delivering babies. It's something that's been around for ages, and it was more or less popularized, most people have said, that in Hans Christian Andersen's story, The Storks. But various European cultures have had some sort of variation on the storks delivering babies idea. But thankfully, in the hyper-conservative culture in America, especially around this time, it's a great excuse to not have to discuss the quote-unquote birds and the bees with your kids. You know, it's just, oh, where do babies come from? Oh, the stork delivers it. It's a lot easier, isn't it? But let's take a look at this short, because it's an absolute classic. It truly is one of Friz Freleng's finest around this period of time before the shutdown. This one's just fantastic. What makes this short fantastic in your eyes?
First is exploring a new concept. This was the baby boomer generation when babies were coming all the way up. And UPA was sort of the first to capitalize on not all babies are the same, when they did Gerald McBoing Boing. And I guess it was sort of right to take that idea and make funny cartoons out of it at Warner's. Chuck Jones would do a few cartoons, like that baby who was born from Mars, that I don't think is particularly worthy. But here, Friz takes the idea of the drunken stork to deliver these children, which is funny. And the other thing I really like is, again, Sylvester's character dynamic, where he actually grows with the baby, where, again, first, you know that he's going to eat the child first, but then he has to change a heart when he sort of just accepts that this mouse is his son.
Yep, exactly. It's interesting because in a lot of shorts, Sylvester is just a regular house cat, whether he's owned by Granny or not, because in different shorts you just have these different rules. He might be like a stray cat in one short and might be owned in another, but here he actually has a wife, which I don't think you even see in another cartoon as far as I recall. I think it's just a creation.
Goldie Mouse and the Three Cats, I think he has a
Oh,
wife as well.
yes, but it would be
But it's a more Sylvester wife.
yeah. So in this case, we got the wife character, and they seemingly go in this house.
I guess they're just like, they live with humans, but we never actually see a human.
Yeah, it's just, look, it's not a big deal or anything, but it's just interesting that in this case, it seems like he's married and he's living in a house, and then that sort of thing. It's just a great idea and great setup. It's a different thing, and that's how versatile Sylvester is. You can do so many things with him, and in this case, you can make him married. He's kind of a lazy, good-for-nothing, as Mrs. Sylvester says. We don't even know her name, I think, so I'll just call it Mrs. Sylvester, I guess.
Lazy good for nothing.
By Bea Benaderet, by the way, in case anyone's wondering, which it's kind of weird because she always voices Granny around this time, but anyway.
She kind of even sounds a little bit like Granny.
Yeah, exactly. But this short just has that fantastic idea of the twist where you got the wife is yearning for a baby and the baby ends up being a mouse. It's just such a great twist, and you can do so much with it, and thankfully they do explore it in interesting ways. But let's look at the short from the beginning, I reckon, and we start off with seeing this stork leaving, and again, because of budgets being cut and everything, you just see the one stork, but Friz cleverly uses sound effects to show that things are much busier than what they actually are, so it's a pretty good way to start things off. And we hear I've always loved Mel Blanc's drunken voice. I don't know, just something about it. He just does it so well.
Fellas, I don't buy it. Swell bunch of guys. Swell.
It's how he started his career at Warner's.
Exactly, yeah. Exactly. And so he does the whole La Cucaracha in one of Tex Avery's
Like
shows.
coconut, like guitar, Picador Porky.
Yep, exactly. That's his first one. Although some have said he recorded 1-2 bits before, but whatever. We're not going to get into that now. But that was one of his first voices anyway. But I got to say, Sylvester, I don't know what she sees in Sylvester, because he's just sleeping. He's like, "Oh, don't bother me now. I'm busy." And he just goes back asleep. It's like, yeah, your typical 1950s type husband. Just lazy about.
Oh, Sylvester! Isn't it strange we've never had a little bundle from heaven?
Suffering succotash. Don't start that patter of little feet around the house stuff again. I'm busy.
I'm assuming this is Sunday, so maybe he's not working today. Cats do have a job.
Or maybe it's Saturday because he might be going out later. We'll talk about later. The babysitter.
Yes, it could be. Exactly.
And then it's a great idea because, again, they use cat characters, and again, Sylvester's this great defined character. And again, they use a mouse. And then we even get them fighting with each other, whether to keep the mouse the child or eat him. I love Sylvester's lines. I've become the father of a breakfast store. You're a gambling woman.
Yeah, exactly. And I do like the fact his attitude just completely changes. It just, again, it plays up the whole lazy good for nothing angle where it's like, he doesn't want to do any of the work, and then when the baby is there, he's decided, oh, hey, I'm going to be a father, because he's just happy he didn't have to do any of the work. He's going to be a father. Although you do have to wonder, where's Sylvester Jr. in all of this? But maybe this is a prequel to the Sylvester Jr. series. I don't know, but this just shows that none of the units really...
Consistency with this character.
Exactly. Again, it's not a big deal. I just wanted to mention that. I just thought it's just like, hey, in some shorts it's got Sylvester Jr., and here he's happy to be a father. You know, it is what it is. But I like when the baby is being delivered, I like the storks rationalizing.
Let's face it, I can't fly any further. This place is as good as any. What's the difference? A baby's a baby. It's the environment that molds them.
Here is this house is just as good as any, and a baby is a baby. Just how much did this stork have to drink anyway? Just to
It's even funnier when you realize that, again, Freleng and Jones made so much for so little, which stresses how important each baby is, and donating to medical causes in order to make future babies healthier and not die within their first year, which is, again, really ironic when Friz is making shorts where, again, this bastard stork is just, oh, one baby ain't gonna matter.
yeah, it's exactly. It's just love the whole rationalizing on there, but it's oh man, it's just I was looking at it going, what? So we've already established that Sylvester's now all of a sudden excited for the baby. He goes, I'm going to be a father.
Oh boy, this makes me a father.
The delivery is fantastic. And hey, also when my kids have been born, except I'm, well, allegedly not a good for nothing, but I don't know, my wife might say different. I don't know. But anyway, and I like Beer's vocals and the whole, you beast, you cannibal.
You beast, you cannibal! How could you? Mouse or no mouse, he's your son!
A fine thing. I've become the father of a breakfast.
Just to establish the fact that, yeah, even though that's adopted, hey, it's still your child. You're technically a cannibal, but anyway.
And Sylvester also says cannibals later about the cats.
Yes, exactly. So we get that nice little setup, and later on, it's used as a follow-up gag, which is pretty good. But the animation of when Sylvester realized was like, oh, the wife's gone. Now I can eat this mouse, and then he makes this mouse sandwich. All that effort, I thought it was great. Especially that nice little touch with one little drop of oil. That stayed with me from when I was little watching this short. Just the whole, he knows what he wants. He knows how he likes his salad.
Yeah.
Which is good. But that gag, I like how it just builds up, where it's like, oh, is he really going to eat this mouse? Is he really going to eat this mouse? And then, bang, we get the whole cute
Daddy!
Ah.
daddy. And just Sylvester's face just melts when he realizes, oh. And that's the twist here, really, if you think about it, because this short could have very well been just about Sylvester trying to eat this mouse and the wife foils him or something. They could have gone down that path. They really could. But they didn't. They decided to go completely different direction, which is great.
I get it. This is a great story where, again, it has a whole bunch of developments in it where, again, now it's going to focus on the cats trying to eat the mouse, which is, I think, the funniest part. How do all these cats just figure out that quickly that there's a mouse in the neighborhood and that Sylvester is not going to eat him?
I love that. And when I saw that bit, I was like, what the? Like, how do these cats even know? And there's so many of them as well. And
I guess the word gets quickly around the house, or the mouse in this case.
could be. Or maybe Mrs. Sylvester told one of the lady cats, and the lady cats maybe passed it on. And I don't know. Word travels fast in the cat community, I would think, based on this short. But so we then turn into a kind of a different cartoon where Sylvester's saving his son. And boy, oh boy, some of these gags are great. Absolutely great. So we start off small. A cat trying to get in through the window, and he's mouthing something at the window. Maybe he's swearing. I don't know. The animator might have done something there. I don't know. And we get one of those few times where Mel Blanc's actual voice is heard without any slobbering. He talks fast, but the whole vacuum cleaner company.
Salesman?
Yep. So the Little Giant Vacuum Cleaner Company from Walla Walla, Washington. They must love Walla Walla, Washington. It's not the last time we're going to hear that. We hear it in Chuck Jones's last Bugs Bunny short of the classic era as well, where he goes, Walla Walla, Washington. I don't know, it's just, maybe that name is just funny. I don't know. It wasn't of any significance, was it?
There is actually a town named Walla Walla, Washington.
Mm-hmm.
I guess someone may have been there, or they thought it was good illiteracy. Maybe it was something that Salesman actually did.
Or maybe it was just a funny sounding name. Similar to that gag in The Simpsons. Again, I got to put another Simpsons gag where Krusty's like, you got to learn your funny names like Cucamonga and all that stuff. To all the clowns, and Homer's just laughing hysterically at Seattle. Yeah. Which is a great gag, by the way. And he goes, okay, and if you can't decide now, I'll come back later. Just remember the Little Giant Vacuum Cleaning Company from Walla Walla, Washington.
Hey, sir, I represent the Little Giant Vacuum Cleaner Company in Walla Walla, Washington. And if you watch closely, you will notice the powerful action of this machine as it removes completely and forever all foreign particles from around the room. I realize that you may not be ready to purchase the Little Giant right now, but if you ever do, just remember the Little Giant Vacuum Cleaner Company in Walla Walla, Washington.
These cats are prepared to get nice.
Yeah, it's just one little, and it's a baby mouse too. They're not going to get much nutrition out of it.
Yeah.
It's just a small thing. But the best bit in the short, the bit that makes me crack up every single time, and even more so now because I noticed one extra detail that I didn't when I was little, is, I understand you need a babysitter.
It's just him hopping. He has the records, I guess, to help with falling asleep. And then his wig is just bouncing up and down as he's giving his speech on being a babysitter.
He doesn't even change his voice. He doesn't shave. And of course, the wig's just bouncing up and down. It's like one of the worst disguises ever. And yet it's so ridiculous. I understand you need a babysitter. Just that delivery, just chef's kiss to that. It's makes me laugh every single time. I actually showed this to my daughter for the first time yesterday, and she was just cracking it with the whole, just, you need a babysitter. But anyway, oh boy, that's just hilarious.
I understand you need a babysitter.
And then we get the dynamite bit where you got the nice little aftermath where it just blows up and they just put the floor back where it belongs and then even put some nails through. That's great. That's great.
Yeah, sometimes you see it the other way around where you actually see them putting it back together, but I think it's just really brilliant where you don't even hear the cat that even got in the basement.
Exactly. They're just so determined. They even have Santa Claus showing up. Just so full of the things that, they must be so desperate because of the fact it's July.
I guess this is the aftermath of paying the piper where there's no more mice.
Probably. Yeah, maybe it's a sequel.
Merry Christmas! Ho, 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 Dancer, ho, Prancer! Merry Christmas, everybody! Ho, 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 a jolly Yuletide greeting! Merry Christmas, everyone! Ho, 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 a merry...
Then Sylvester's, are they gone? Nope. He looks through and sees that a whole bunch of cats. Again, there's so many of them. How are they going to divide this mouse?
I guess it's every man for itself.
Yeah, and then you're probably saying, see, I told you the title's good because how are they going to divide that mouse? But anyway.
Or when Sylvester's about to gamble with what?
Yes. And at the same time, this scene shows how animation will end up evolving in the Hanna-Barbera days, where you got the whole thing where they're entering, you just hear sound effects throughout the house, again, to cut on costs. We see the animation of them breaking through the house, but then we hear off screen that they fall down into this very tiny well. So you just see the aftermath. You don't even see the log going in. You don't see any of that stuff. So this is very much what Hanna-Barbera would end up doing in a lot of their productions. Just like this evolution of animation as the budgets get tightened.
And again, Friz was always very economical in his approach.
Exactly. And hey, it works. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a way of seeing, okay, that's how they're going to do it.
He was always less is more, and he does it to a great effect, unlike Hanna-Barbera, which had to do it on a crunch.
Yeah, because their budgets were really low, of course, compared to the budgets for theatrical. Even at this stage, they were still way lower than what they're getting here.
Yeah, their budgets at this time would have been like 10 times larger than Hanna-Barbera starting budgets.
Exactly. And what I love about this story as well is how it sets up the fact, okay, you got all these cats trying to get the mouse, right? But then the stork comes back and is like, his boss has made him come back to deliver the mouse to the correct house, right? But Sylvester still thinks it's a cat. So the story builds up in such a way that it's like an evolution. It builds on what came before. And as a result, we get that wonderful gag at the end where the stork's still drunk. He just doesn't realize that it's a cat and not a mouse, and he just leaves it to a pair of mice.
I guess that's how the boss found out he must have ratted himself out when he got back. You got to imagine that the baby mouse is immediately devoured by some cat, sadly.
Yeah, it's a kind of a grim ending, but hey, look, maybe Mr. Sylvester comes back and is like, my good-for-nothing husband left me and I'll have to raise this baby myself. That would have been a downer of an ending, but anyway, we definitely don't need it.
It is still a downer because again, you get those mouse pairs arguing with themselves over Sylvester as a baby.
Yeah. And it's not from my side of the family, and that's a gag that they'll end up reusing a lot, because that's something, I don't know where that originated from, but it's definitely something that's used constantly.
This is, again, one of the all-time classics, I think.
Yeah, that's why I give it a 9.5 out of 10. It's amazing. It's just one of those shorts where, again, I keep forgetting what it's called. Maybe now I'll get the name drilled in my head, but anyway, but the story just keeps building upon itself, and you get a wonderful punchline at the end as a result. It has a twist that, if you haven't seen this before, you actually don't see coming, because you think it's going to be one thing, but it ends up being another. And it's well animated, the jokes are funny, great vocal performances, and we even get a cross-dressing, I'm assuming, middle-aged cat trying to be a teenage babysitter. I mean, it's got everything.
Yep. I give it a 9 out of 10, too.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and I'm so glad it's on disc now. And again, guys, if you haven't got that Collector's Choice set, the Volume 1 is at a dirt cheap price now.
They will keep playing dirt until everyone on this planet has it.
Yep, and that's why we're getting more volumes, but we want to make sure they keep making volumes, so definitely pick it up if you haven't. And if you already picked one up, pick up another and give it as a gift. That's all I'm going to say, because I'm sure lots of people will enjoy it. But in any case, that'll do for this one. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and until next time, take care.
That's all, folks.
Nothing like this ever happened on my side of the family.